Well, could Tom Lawrence be about to leave? How impressive was Connor Barron today when he spoke to the media? A man with a age of a boy, absolutely superb. What else have we got? We've got a little bit of contract news as well with the teen sensation, 16-year-old Alexander Smith signing a new contract, which is phenomenal news for the club, given how highly he's rated and the fact that several Premier League clubs were sniffing around the promising teen as well. And could a former Rangers player be playing against us next season in the SPL? We'll also talk a little bit about that as well. Well, I want to start off with talking about Connor Barron. I've got to say, I've watched Connor Barron's press conference today. I've watched it a couple of times, actually. And I've got to say, I am massively impressed with this young man. He just, the way he talks, the way he handles himself, just his mindset, his mentality, everything about him is just absolutely spot on. He's belies his years, really. You know, the fact that he's 21 years old, that you listen to him speak and he speaks like a seasoned professional. He really genuinely does. You know, very professional, refused to be drawn on all the Aberdeen fans hate you now kind of sort of probing questions that were going on. The questions as well from the media around were there other clubs interested, what were they trying to get at, what those other clubs were, the kind of, you know, did you not make a mistake not going abroad? You know, always pushing to try and find out a little bit, you know, those juicy details. But all the time, Connor handled himself with utter professionalism. And you know, if you haven't watched the press conference yet, go on and check it out on the Rangers YouTube channel. He is a very, very impressive young man indeed. And I've got very, very high hopes for Connor for this forthcoming season. Doesn't he look good in blue? Much better than he ever did in red. Connor is certainly a journey now. Now, look, I thought what he said really did show the right mentality, the right switched on, focused, let's do this, let's win, let's get trophies, let's get out on the field, let's do our talking on the field mentality that we need from our players. And Connor was just superb in what he said. So what did Connor say? So as a player, you've got to do things for yourself sometimes. You've got to do what's best for your career at the right time. I pay my thanks to Aberdeen. They've obviously brought me up from a boy to who I am today. So I thank them for everything they've done to help me get here for my career. But as I say, the next chapter of my career now is Rangers Football Club, and I can't wait to get going. So Connor was, you know, very enthusiastic about the fact that he is now a Rangers player. And he made it very clear to the media on 3 separate occasions, despite their questions, that there was only one option for him the moment he knew that Rangers were interested, the moment he spoke to Rangers, the moment he spoke to Philippe Clement. There was only going to be one answer. There was only going to be one choice, and that was to sign for Rangers. Which is fantastic to hear. You know, it really does show the pulling power of this club, the power of this club to pull players in and hold them and, you know, really get them interested in what is going on here at Ibrox. So, you know, it's great he says that. And look, he showed class as well. That's a thing. You know, yes, we may not dislike Aberdeen. Yes, we may not like their fans or the way they conduct themselves or the way they play on the field or their kind of, you know, other things that go on around the club in terms of how they face Celtic, etc. But you know, he's right to sit there and thank the club for what they've done for him, because they have obviously invested time and effort into bringing him up to be a player that he is today that enables him to make this move. And that's a real classy statement from the boy. So, you know, very impressed with that indeed. He went on to say, to be honest, this was in response to a question when he talked about when he was asked about, you know, what does he think of what the Aberdeen, the hatred he's been getting from certain Aberdeen fans or certain groups of Aberdeen fans who've kind of been very much small-minded in the way they've taken to this move from Connor Barron from Aberdeen to Rangers. He said, to be honest, I haven't seen anything. All I do is focus on my job on the pitch. I don't go on social media or anything like that. That's not my job. My job is to go out on the pitch and perform and let football do the talking. Wow. Just spot on, Connor. We'll get to the second part of that quote in a minute, but absolutely spot on from Mr. Barron to say that his job is to do his talking on the pitch. His job is to get out on that park on a Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever, and do his job. Not to do his talking on social media, not to use social media to post him up and boast him up or whatever. Mr. Cantwell, Mr. Tavernier, listen to Connor Barron. Listen to this young man. He puts you to shame with what he says. What did he go on to say? He said, quiz on whether he'll be able to handle any abuse that comes his way. He said, It doesn't get to me. When you're at a club the size of Rangers, you can't let that get into your head. If it does, then there's a problem. I think, again, absolutely spot on mentality. We all know the fact that everyone hates us. We don't care. That was a quote from Graham Souness. It's a quote that equally applies now. Everyone hates us. We don't care. We know that every team, when they come to play us, raise their game because it's Rangers. At the end of the day, it's their cup final. It's their super cup final. It's their Champions League playing against us. And when they come to Ibrox, it's their World Cup final. We know that. And he's right. You can't let anything like that get into your head. You can't let the pressure get into your head. You've got to focus on being a Rangers player, on going out there and showing the very best of you, showing why you were recruited by the club, showing why you deserve to wear that shirt and to wear that badge on your chest and be proud of that fact. And it's a spot on statement. And like I said, the one thing that comes across throughout this entire interview is his first class mentality, his excellent attitude, and the fact of his absolute professionalism at all times. Conor went on to say, when I spoke to Rangers, it was a no-brainer for me. That's where I want to be. I'm here now. It's about me doing what I can on the pitch to make this club even more successful than it already is. I mean, again, brilliant statement. You know, the fact that he wants to be here. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. That's all we want. Is players that want to pull on that blue jersey, that white jersey, or whatever colour the third kit's going to be, orange maybe. We want players that want to be here, that want to represent this club, that want to fight for that jersey, that want to fight for that badge, that want to be Rangers players. And for me, that is displayed through the attitude of what Conor Barron has said today in this press conference. I'm just blown away by him. I think, like I said, when I sat and watched that press conference, even after watching it just the once, like I said, I followed up and watched it again this evening, just so impressed with him. Absolutely fabulous from Conor. Brilliant. Okay, so let's turn a little bit of attention now to Tom Lawrence. Now, Tom Lawrence obviously is a player that when he arrived at Rangers, he burst onto the scene. He looked a class act. He looked to bring to Rangers what we were missing a lot of time, that shooting from distance, that penetrative passing, that just quality attacking midfield. Then he got injured. It was out for the season. He came back. He played a bit. He got injured. He played a bit more. He got injured. He played a bit more. He got injured. Injury has been a kind of a narrative that's run throughout Tom's time at Ibrox. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and slag Tom Lawrence off because I like Tom Lawrence. I think he's a good player. I think he's a very fine footballer. Don't get me wrong. I think, injuries are a big issue for me around Tom Lawrence. Any player that's out as much as Tom is, as Kemar was, as Kieran Dowell is a big issue. Of course it is, because you need your best players on the pitch. You need your players that you're paying out on that park playing football on a Saturday, on a Sunday, on a Monday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever they're playing. Tom has a lot of skills, a lot of talent that is very useful. I think, he has the ability to take that shot. He has the ability to play a killer pass. And at times this past season, he's shown that. I mean, there's been some top moments, Killy away, Dundee, lots of moments when he's shown that ability and that raw talent. Yes, I think in the Old Firm games this season, he's been very poor. He went missing, particularly in that game at Ibrox. So, Tom is a top player, and I like Tom Lawrence. Don't get me wrong, I really like Tom Lawrence. And if Tom Lawrence is still here at the next start of this coming season, then great. No problems with that at all. No problems having Tom as a squad player. No problems with Tom being out there on a Saturday, Sunday, whenever we play. Got no issues with that. I like him as a player. But it seems that Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, the former manager of Rangers, current head coach of Besiktas, could well be interested in taking Tom to Turkey. Obviously joining the likes of Borna Barisic and John Lundstrom, who are currently at Trabzonspor, out in Turkey. A real Rangers reunion could be in place when Besiktas play Trabzon in the Turkish Super League. Van Bronckhorst obviously is a player, was the manager when Lawrence joined Rangers. And it seems that Van Bronckhorst is very keen on a Tom Lawrence reunion. Seeing Tom as a sort of attacking midfielder who can make a real difference to Besiktas this coming season. It's claimed that obviously Gio is very keen to get hold of the 30-year-old. Now, what might make this a goer is the fact that Tom Lawrence has just 1 year remaining on his contract. There's been no new contracts offered as yet. And we all know that we don't want to be in a situation excuse me, we don't want to be in a situation, in 12 months' time where we're saying goodbye to Tom Lawrence and he's again moving on for absolutely nothing. We've had that last season with the 5 that left. We've had it again this season with 5 that have left. Again, no money coming into the club for those players leaving. Now, Tom Lawrence, if we can get a fee for him, if it is that Tom wants to move on, doesn't want to sign a new contract, then fine. Obviously, I think if we can get a fee for him, a couple of 2, 3, 4 million, then spot on. Let's get that money into the club. Let's use that money to help rebuild the squad. I've got no doubts that money will be very, very useful indeed. And there is a need, I think, for a changing of the guard, for a changing of the players. Of course there is at the end of the day. But look, if Tom stays, I think what we've got to do is make sure we tie him down to a contract extension, because we cannot have, even if it's just a 1-year contract extension, we cannot have in 12 months' time him walking away from the club for absolutely nothing. Philippe Clement himself said that at the end of last season, didn't he? He talked about the fact that this should not be allowed to happen, that players should not be allowed to walk for nothing. And the fact that he's out of contract next summer, obviously, if we can get a fee for him, if it is the Besiktas are interested in him, then this is good news for the club. Like I said, I've got no issues with Tom staying. I think he's a very good player. But like I said, if he does stay, we do need to get him on at least a year's extension to stop him walking for nothing next summer. And look, going forward, it's something we need to address. I honestly believe that we should follow the example that a number of English Premier League clubs take, where when a player has 2 years remaining on his deal, the club go to him with a new contract offer, or they tell him that he's going to be sold, and they then move him on at that point, or get him to sign a contract extension at that point. You don't wait the last 12 to 18 months of a player's deal when his value is substantially lowered to then sell that player. The situation is this, if you've got a player with 12 months left on his contract, you are not going to get the fee for him that you would be able to get, say, 12 months previous to that, because no club is going to pay a massive fee for a player they can get for nothing at the end of the season, unless, of course, they are desperate to secure that player for the forthcoming season. But that's what we've got to do. 2 years to go, sit the player down. This is the terms of the deal. Do you want it? No, you don't. Right, see you later. Goodbye. You're being sold. That's the way it has to be. We cannot be in a position like we've been over the last 2 seasons when we are letting millions and millions of pounds of talent walk out of that door for absolutely nothing. Okay, let's move it along a little bit and talk about this very talented young player, Mr. Alexander Smith. Now, this is a player, 16 years old. He looks a hell of a lot younger than 16 in that photograph, though. Alexander Smith is an exceptionally talented footballer, a guy who is, or a boy who is tipped for having a huge future in the game. Attacking midfield player, centre midfield player, very skillful, very good range of passing, very good on the ball, very talented. How do I know he's so talented? These are the reports that I've read coming out of the academy. It's also the fact that some of the top English Premier League clubs have been looking at this young lad. And there was rumours, certainly towards the end of last season, the midpoint of last season, that there was English Premier League clubs sniffing around him, looking to steal him from Rangers and take him south to their academies. However, Fabrizio Romano, so it's true, has tweeted out or X'd out or whatever. Alexander Smith has signed a 3-year professional contract at Rangers. Deal done. Eligible for the USA and Scotland, Smith picked Rangers ahead of strong options in the MLS and the Premier League. So it seems that he was offered professional contracts, which he could have taken, now that he's 16 years old, from the Premier League and from the MLS. He turned those down and he's quite happy to remain at Rangers. Really showing a couple of things. Number one, that he is clearly confident in his pathway towards the first team here at Rangers. Number two, that the club itself have great faith in this young man, that he can come through and really make a difference in the future for this club. And also, this is the sort of talent that we need to be tying up. If he's under contract and he's under professional contract as well, that means that if any club wants to come in and secure his services, they're going to have to pay a substantial fee to steal him away from us, which is excellent news for Rangers. Well, let's turn our attentions to a player who did leave this summer. That is Ryan Jack. Look, I'm going to be wholly honest with you. Look, Ryan Jack, I love Ryan Jack. I think he's a top player. I think when he was at Rangers, if you look at some of the games that he played, he made everyone around him look a hell of a lot better. He covered the defence excellently. He distributed the ball well. He was the wrecker. He was the 6. He was an excellent number 6. And had he not had all those injuries, I would have been fully in favour of giving him a new deal. Like I said, I'm a massive Ryan Jack fan, huge fan of Ryan Jack, and I have nothing but goodwill towards Ryan, and I wish Ryan all the very best in the future. I really genuinely do. The guy's, I love the guy. He's brilliant. Now, where's he going to go? That's the question. You know, obviously we know that John Lundstrom has gone to Trabzon. We know that Borna Barisic has gone to Trabzon. You know, still no news on where Kamar Roof has gone yet, or John McLaughlin. I think McLaughlin may struggle to get a club, but apparently there are reports that Tony Docherty and Dundee are interested in signing Ryan Jack. Now, this could be very interesting indeed if obviously that Ryan Jack did go on to join Dundee. He's, of course, a free agent, so he's free for anyone to sign. It's just obviously a signing on fee and his wages to pay to secure him, obviously a contract to agree. But, you know, Docherty worked with Aberdeen, with Jack at Aberdeen previously. Jack is 32 years old. And, you know, he's the sort of player that I think could come in and add to that Dundee team, you know, give some of those young players a bit of experienced leadership on the field. You know, he's a player who I think could make their team better. And look, as much as I might not like Tony Docherty, and I might have some ill feelings towards Dundee after the pitch debacle last season, you know, if that's the case, I do wish Jacko all the best, just not against us. And obviously, I hope that when he comes to play Celtic, he scores a hat-trick and beats them when Dundee play them. Now, when he was asked about possibly signing Ryan Jack, Tony Docherty, who obviously is the Dundee manager, said the following. He said, "I'd love to think we've got a chance. I love Jacko. He's a fantastic footballer and a brilliant person, but I've not had conversations with him." But, you know, look, at the end of the day, it is top news that, you know, that Ryan obviously has options, but I think it could be exceptionally interesting, couldn't it, if Ryan was to join Dundee? You know, perhaps seeing him run out there at Ibrox in a Dundee kit would be a very interesting prospect. Wherever that Ryan goes, I wish him every success. If it's in the SPL, fantastic. If it's against us, I wish him no success at all, of course. Guys, all the very best, guys. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation today. Please obviously smash that sub, help the channel to keep on growing. On the way out, there's two favours I always ask of you. Number one, smash the like, please. And number two, remember always, we are the people.